संसार दावा नललीढलोका त्रणाय कारुण्य घना घना त्वं लोका त्रणाय घना घना त्वं प्राप्तस्य कल्याण गुणनवस्य वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं प्राप्तस्य कल्याण गुणनवस्य वन्दे गुरु श्री महाप्रभु की तन नृत्य गीता वादित्रमाद्यान् मनसोरसेना महाप्रभु की तन नृत्य गीता वादित्रमाद्यान् रोमाञ्चकं पासुतरङ्गभाजो वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं रोमाञ्चकं वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं वन्दे वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं वन्दे गुरु श्री श्री विग्रहाराधन नित्य नाना श्रृंगार तन्मन्दिरमर्जनादौ विग्रहाराधन नित्य नाना युक्तश्च भक्तांश्च न्युञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं युक्तश्च भक्तांश्च न्युञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरु श्री चतुर्विधा श्री भगवत् प्रसादो स्वादन्न तृप्तां हरिभक्तसङ्गां चतुर्विधा श्री कृत्वैव तृप्तिं भजत सदैव वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं श्री राधिका माधवयोरपार माधुर्य लीला गुणरूपनाम्ना माधवयोरपार प्रतीक्षणा स्वादनलोलुपास्या वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं प्रतीक्षणा स्वादनलोलुपास्या वन्दे गुरु श्री वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं वन्दे गुरु श्री निकुञ्जयुनो रति केलिसिधै यायालेभिर्युक्ते अपेक्षणीया निकुञ्जयुनो रति केलिसिधै तत्रात्रिदक्षादतिवल्लभास्य वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं तत्रात्रिदक्षादतिवल्लभास्य वन्दे गुरु श्री साक्षाद्धरित्वेना समस्तशास्त्रे उक्तस्तथा भवतैव साध्वैर्याक्ताद्धरित्वेना समस्तशास्त्रे उक्तस्तथा भवतैव साध्वैर्याक्ताद्धरित्वेना किन्तु प्रभुर्या प्रिय एव तस्यै वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं किन्तु प्रभुर्या प्रिय एव तस्यै वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं 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 यस्य प्रसादा भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादा न गति कुतोऽपि यस्य प्रसादा भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादा न गति कुतोऽपि यस्य प्रसादा भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादा न गति कुतोऽपि यस्य प्रसादा ध्यायन्स्तु वांस्तस्य यशस्त्रीसन्ध्यान् वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं ध्यायन्स्तु वांस्तस्य यशस्त्रीसन्ध्यान् वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं 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 वन्दे गुरु श्री नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामीति नामिने नमः। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमस्ते निर्विशेष शून्यवादी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवशदि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जयो राधा नील माधव राधा नील श्री राधे जयो राधा नील माधव राधा नील जयो राधा नील माधव राधा नील माधव श्री राधे जयो राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर श्री राधे जयो राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर श्री राधे जयो जगन्नाथ जयो जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा सीताराम 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 जयो लक्ष्मण हनुमान निताई गौरांग निताई गौरांग निताई गौरांग गौर हरे निताई गौरांग निताई गौरांग निताई गौरांग गौर हरे जय जय प्रभुपा 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 जयो जयो प्रभुपा जय जय जयो जयो गुरुदेव 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 जयो जयो गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव जयो जयो गुरु निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai, Nama Acharya Srila Haridasa Thakur ki jai, Premise Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Shri Mayapur Dham ki jai, Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Yamuna Mai ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Shri Ramanuja Acharya Appearance Day ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glory to assembled devotees, all glory to assembled devotees, all glory to assembled devotees, all glory to Shri Shri Guru and Gaurang, all glory to Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Namaste Narasimhaya. प्रह्लादलाददायिने हिरण्यकाशीपूर्वक्षः शीलटङ्कनखालाये इतो नरसिंह परतो नरसिंह यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंह बहिर्नरसिंह हृदये नरसिंह नरसिंहमादिं शरणं प्रपद्ये तव करकमलवरे नखा अद्भुतशृङ्गां दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गम् केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रह्लाद महाराज प्रह्लाद महाराज प्रह्लाद महाराज जय प्रह्लाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल
वृंदाय तुलसीदेवाय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णुभक्तिप्रददेवे सत्यवत्याय नमो नमः।
वृंदाय तुलसीदेवाय प्रियाय
राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो यही अभिलाषी। राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो यही अभिलाषी। ये तो मारा शरण लो तारा वंशा पूर्ण हो। कृपा कोरी करो तारे वृंदावन वासी। तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः। मोरा ये अभिलाष विलास कुंज दियो वास। नयन हरिबो सदा जुगल रूप राशि। तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः। यही निवेदन धारो सखीर अनुगत करो। सेवायाधिकार दिए करो निज दासी। तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः। दीन कृष्ण दास को ये न मोरा हो। श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा ये न भासी। श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा ये न भासी। प्रेयसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्मत्यधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्मत्यधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्मत्यधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्मत्यधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी। जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी। जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी नित्य गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल
Servant of Krishna prays, may all who swim in the love of Sri
There are 10 offenses in the matter of chanting holy name that should be avoided, and they are as follows. 1. To blaspheme the devotees of deities' lives for the propagation of the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider the name of the demigods like Lord Shiva or Brahma to be equal to independent of name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the order of spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Veda literature or literature in pursuance of Vedic version. 5. To consider the glory of the chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on strength of chanting holy name. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma, ganda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about the glory of the holy name. 10. To not have complete faith in the chanting holy names and to maintain material attachments in understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must carefully guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve desired success. Krishna Prema. Now let us offer most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Shri Chaitanya Shastakam Ki Jai. Jeto Darpana Marjanam Pavamaha Tavagni Nirvapanam Shriya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavatu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamita Sadhanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatra Pita Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha Etadishi Tava Kripa Bhagavam Mamapi Durudaiva Mi Disham Iha Janina Nuragaha Trinatapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtanya Sadaharihi Nathanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagati Shakamaye Mama Jammani Jamanishware Pavata Bhaktir Haituki Tvai Ai Nanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Pavam Buddha Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sthita Duri Satesham Vichintaya Nayanam Karadashuru Taraya Vadanam Gadgada Rudaya Gira Pulakaya Nichitam Mapurkada Tava Nama Grahane Bhavishati Yuga Itam Nimishena Chakshusha Pravisha Itam Shunya Itam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahe Name Ashri Shava Padaratam Pinnastumam Adarshanam Marmhatam Karotuva Yatha Tatha Va Vitatatu Lampato Mutprana Nathastu Saeva Naparaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Chaitanya Shastakam Ki Jai. Glory to Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which includes the heart of all the dust accumulated through years and extinguishes fire of conditional life of repeated births and deaths. This Sankirtana movement is prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays and benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases ocean chance and bliss. Your holy name alone grant all banish human beings. Thus there are hundreds of millions of names are Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names are invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh my Lord, all the kindness enables us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I'm so unfortunate I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord and humble thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. One should be more taller than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Oh my Lord, I have no desire to commit wealth, nor to desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. Oh, Sam Martinanda, I'm your eternal servitor. Yet somehow I fall in this ocean of birth and death. Please me come from this ocean of death, and please me one the Adam to lotus feet. Oh my Lord, while my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name. While my voice choke up, while the hairs of my body stand on end, a recitation of your name. Oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like millennium. Tears are flowing from eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and shall remain so even handled roughly by the embrace. It makes me work hard by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything, everything, for it's always my worshipable Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Shastakam Ki Jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupa Kadama Kadajam Vandeham Sankaro Shita Kadamalam Shri Rupam Sajatam Sahagana Ragunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhuitam Savadutam Parijasahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pachata Desha Tarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namini Shri Varshabhani Devi Daitaya Kripaptaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayine Prabhavin Namaha Madhuryo Jala Premadya Shri Rupa Nuga Bhaktita Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudapa Siddhanta Dvantaharine Namo Gaurakishoraya Sashad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambara Sambodhe Padam Bojayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gauravir Bhava Bhumistvam Nirdeshta Sajanapriyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jaganathaya Te Namaha Vanchakalpatarabhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakam Namami Bhaktasaktikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Jayatam Suraturpan Gaur Mama Mandal Katirgati Matsarvasva Padam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Dvindaranya Kalpajumadaha Shimad Ratna Simasanasisto Shimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Prastadi Vihisevamano Smarami Shimad Rasa Saram Divam Siva Tatasita Karshan Vinu Saner Gopir Gopinath Sriyestuna Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol Shri Brahma Samhita Ki Jai Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Viksha Lakshaviteshu Suravira Vipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasrashata Sambrahma Sevyamanam Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Kunandam Aravinda Dalayatacham Parharvatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Sobham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chandra Kalasatmalimamsi Ratnam Gadam Pranayakeli Kalavilasam Shamam Tripangalalitam Yata Prakasham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ankani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti Pashanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chimmaya Sadhujvala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achotam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durabam Adurabam Atma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pantastu Koti Shatavatsara Sampragamyo Vayuratapi Manaso Munibandhavanam Sopyasti Yat Prapada Simya Vichinta Tattve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ekopya Saurachetum Jagadanta Kotim Yachaktirasti Jagadanta Chayaya Danta Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yat Bhava Pavita Diyo Manujasataiva Samprapya Rupa Mahimasana Yana Bhushai Suktaryameva Nikama Pratitaistuvanti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Patipavitapis Tavirya Eva Nijrupataya Kalavi Goloka Eva Nivasata Kilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena Santak Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundara Chintya Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ramadi Murti Sukalanya Mena Tishtan Nana Avataram Akarot Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Parama Pumamyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Shri Brahma Samhita Ki Jai
Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desire in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock feather, with the figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers beautified with the moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Sham Sundar is eternally manifest. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha, yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, and by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane, extending over thousands of millions of years. He is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord whom I adore. I adore the same Govinda, the primeval Lord, in whose praise men who are imbued with devotion sing the mantra suktas told by the Vedas, by gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveyances, and ornaments. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artistic activities, in the company of her confidant Sakis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever-blissful spiritual rasa. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shamasundara, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts, with the eye of devotion tinged with the salve of love. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifests himself personally as Krishna, and the different avatars in the world in the forms of Rama, Nrsimha, Vamana, etc., as his subjective portions. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Brahma Samhita ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Bol. So today I want to divert a little bit and read something that I think is extremely important to understand Prabhupada's vision for ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So this is a morning walk, March 12th, 1974, in Vrindavana. And Prabhupada says, their business will be to exploit the poor citizens. He's talking about the politicians, mundane politicians. And they will be embarrassed and harassed so much by one side, which means no sufficient rain, and therefore scarcity of food, and the other side, taxation by the government. In this way, the people will be so much harassed that they'll give up their home and go to the forest. Pitiful. Unless they take the Krishna consciousness, they'll not be saved. The Varnashram College has to be established immediately, everywhere, wherever we have got our center. A Varnashram College should be established to train 4 divisions. 1 class Brahmana, 1 class Kshatriya, 1 class Vaishya, and 1 class Sudra. But everyone would be elevated to the spiritual platform by the spiritual activities which we have prescribed. There is no inconvenience even for the Sudras. Well, have you ever heard of any ISKCON temple that has a Varnashram college? I don't think so. Sometimes people talk about it. I talk about it sometimes. But I did say that when we open a new temple in Bellevue, we're going to have Varnashram College. Now we're going to hear what that means exactly, Prabhupada's explanation of it, and it's very profound. But the main thing he's saying here is there's no, let's say, there's no inequality if one is a Sudra or a Vaishya or a Kshatriya or a Brahmana. As long as they cooperate, they all make tangible spiritual advancement and go back to Godhead, including the Sudras. Now, when we talk about Sudras, sometimes there's a very negative connotation about the Sudras. But we're talking about Sudras and the other 3 designations in the Varnashram College. There's a big difference. So, you know, we have what's called the lower Swadharma and the higher Swadharma. Krishna consciousness is the higher Swadharma, this differentiation of people according to their natural tendencies. So you have, and we all, I proved that this is a fact because in the Soviet Union, they did everything possible to eliminate 4 classes. And they couldn't do it. After over 80 years of managing with an iron hand their society, they still had 4 classes. They were a little bit different than what we understand in Krishna consciousness, but there were 4 classes. The first class were the politicians, or meaning members of the party, the Communist Party, and along with them were people who were considered intellectuals, and in other words, they were party philosophers, right? But they were considered intellectuals. So that was one class. And the second class were the white-collar workers. They were managing factories. They didn't own the factories, but they were managing them. And then you had the blue-collar workers who were working in the factories. And then lastly, you had the farmers or peasants who were growing food and dairy and things like that. So you had 4 classes. But you can't eliminate them. Why? Krishna says clearly, Chaturanya Mayasristam Gunakarma Vibhagasa, that these 4 classes were created by Krishna, so no one can destroy them. And they're existing for all time. No one can destroy them, no one can eliminate them. And the proof was the communist experiment. It didn't work. They were not able to have 1 class. They ended up saying, well, we have 2 classes, but that didn't work either. They ended up with 4 classes of people. Okay, so here what Prabhupada's saying, there is no, let's say, there's nothing wrong with being a Sudra. Why? Because The in Krishna consciousness, everyone is in the higher Swadharma, meaning Krishna consciousness. So they all make spiritual advancement, and they all go back to Godhead if they cooperate. See? So Prabhupada says, so a devotee says, are Sudras supposed to take sannyas also? Prabhupada, no. Why? The Sudras, Prabhupada, those who are Sudras, they should not be allowed to take sannyas. Only those who are qualified brahmanas, they'll be allowed to take sannyas. And then this devotee says, well, Kshatriyas used to take sannyas too. Prabhupada, Kshatriyas, only some of them, not all. And then another devotee, Yudhisthira Maharaj. Prabhupada, what? Yudhisthira Maharaj, he said, the Pandavas did not take sannyas, but they left home. There's no need of accepting sannyas. One has to perform the devotional activities. That is a real thing. Simply by changing dress, one does not improve, unless he takes to seriously the principles of devotional service. But in the Kali Yuga, people think, because I've changed my dress, I have become a big sannyasi. You see? The Kali Yuga, they'll think like that. Because I have changed my dress, I have become a big sannyasi. Because I have changed my dress, so forth. Because I've got sacred thread, now I am Brahmana. No. There must be regular training. So here we see Prabhupada is not an impractical person. He's very practical. Now you're going to hear some amazing things that he's going to say. So one devotee says, Srila Prabhupada, is a Varnashram society, Prabhupada, what? What did you say? In a Varnashram society, are most of the citizens Sudras? Are the majority of citizens Sudras in a Varnashram society? Prabhupada, yes. The number of Sudras are always bigger. Just like in university education, the number of graduates and postgraduates, they are less. Others are a big number, bigger number. Devotee. The whole idea is that at the end of everyone's life, everyone is required to leave home, perform devotional activities, but not necessarily take sannyas. Prabhupada. Devotional activities, either he leaves home or does not leave home. That doesn't matter. It must continue from the very beginning. For the maintenance of affairs, we require to divide into different classes, because there are different classes of brain. So those who have very intellectual brain, they should become brahmanas. Those who are fit for management and protection, they should be trained as kshatriya. And those who are fit for producing food, taking care of the cows, they should be trained as vaishya. And the balance, they're all sudras. This is the division. Everywhere you find this division. That's a fact. Everywhere you'll find this in the world. It's natural. One class of men, very intelligent. One class of men, very strong, good brain for management, administration. One class of men fit for tilling the ground, field, and produce food. Take care of the cows. And the balance is sudras. That's all. So in our society, this division should be there. The most intelligent class of men, they should be engaged in preaching, reading books, and instructing, taking care of deity worship, temple, and another class should be strong managers, that things are going on nicely, everyone is engaged, not that eating and sleeping. Everyone must be engaged, employed. So if one is very much adapted for eating and sleeping, he should be engaged with plows. You see, he must have activity. Otherwise, there must be dysentery, eating and sleeping. He cannot digest, yes. So in this way, our society should be managed. Not that give me second initiation, give me a sacred thread, and after getting it, everything is done. Now I'm liberated. Let me eat and sleep. This should be stopped. We have got 50 bighas of land, and I have calculated in Mayapura setting aside 20 bighas for the temple and grazing ground for the cows, 30 bighas of land. The production should be 300 mounds of grains. And 300 mounds of grains, I've calculated. How much can you, devotee? 1,500. Prabhupada, no. According to our present calculation, about 180 mounds of grain. So there should be 120 mounds excess grain instead of excess. They want 10,000 rupees for maintenance. See, now Prabhupada is criticizing the devotees who have given him false estimates, and because they don't want to work. And therefore they're asking Prabhupada to give them 10,000 rupees a month to manage Mayapur. But according to him, the most he was going to give is 6,000 rupees, and they don't need 10,000 rupees if they work. If they just sit around and talk and get fat and waste time, then they're going to need more money. And Prabhupada's not going to give it. He's saying you're going to have to work hard. Now, it says, this management is going on. In other words, this mismanagement is going on. These things were not discussed in the GBC meeting. So what kind of discussion was there? Simply talking, nothing practical. And the estimate of budget was presented for 10,000 rupees per month. And when it was scrutinizingly studied, immediately it came down to 6,000. So what kind of a budget did you come up with? So management should be in that way, that nobody is sitting idly. Automatically, he'll fall sick. Sickness means idleness. Our excess eating, sleeping, or excess eating and sleeping. No excess, no less. Yuktahara viharasya yogo bhavati dukkha. Yukta means actually what you need. So everywhere in each center, this system should be introduced. And there must be practical application of the Varnashrama. At the same time, this program of devotional service. Then it will go on very nicely. So he's saying that every temple should have a Varnashram college. In every temple, devotees, according to their tendencies, should work. No one should be idle. And the more advanced devotees, they have a more fluid, let's say, responsibility. So if they're a Brahmana, but they can accept becoming, working as a Sudra or a Vaishya or a Kshatriya. It's not that because they're a Brahmana they can't do anything else. Why? Because it doesn't matter. Everything they're doing, they're engaged in Krishna's service. Because everything we do in the temple is directed toward pleasing Guru and Krishna. So here's a revolutionary concept of Varnashram Dharma. It's different than, oh, you're a Sudra, you only can do this or that, and you're on the lowest rung, and you guys are really very unfortunate. No. Everybody in the Varnashram College makes tangible spiritual advancement, and they all go back to Godhead, including the Sudras. So here Prabhupada says, devotee says, should devotees be formally designated in a particular occupation? Prabhupada, no. Devotees are devotees. Actually, devotees are above this Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. But for management of material things, we have to divide. Just like in the body, there are divisions. Krishna was acting as a Kshatriya in his boyhood. He was a cowherd boy, a Vaishya. That is business of Vaishya. cowherding. And when he was fighting in the battlefield, he was Kshatriya. He was marrying many ladies as a Kshatriya. So although he was acting sometimes as Kshatriya, sometimes as Vaishya, but he's neither of these. So devotee is like that. He may act in any position, but he is above all the material conceptions of life. That is perfection. Hare Krishna. This is an amazing statement by Prabhupada. And a devotee said, what should the Kshatriyas be taught? Prabhupada. Kshatriya should be taught that he is a manager. He must see that everyone is engaged. And if there is any fight, he must come forward to fight. That is Kshatriya's business. There may be fight. Somebody may attack us. Not that we just sit around chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. No. They must come forward, the Kshatriya. Yes, we are prepared to fight. That is Kshatriya. Okay, Tamal Krishna. In our centers, we are awarding Brahmana initiation, second initiation. Prabhupada, no. Initiation should go on. You do not understand what I have said. That is for Vaishnava, a worshipper of Lord Vishnu. Just like Krishna is Vishnu, he's not a human being, but he was acting like a human being. Similarly, Vaishnava is transcendental, but for proper management of the material world, one should be acting like Brahmana, one should be acting like Kshatriya. That is required, just like actually we are doing so. Some of you are preaching, some of you are cleaning the temple. It does not mean that a sannyasi who is preaching, he's better than the man who's cleaning the temple. Their position as Vaishnava is the same. But for the management, one is cleaning, one is seeing construction, one is going to preach like that. That should be there. It is not that because I have taken sannyasa, therefore I cannot anymore do anything else but preach. If need be, he has to act as Kshatriya or a Sudra. It doesn't matter. You see, this is real philosophy. This is real Prabhupada. This is real Varnashrama. Okay. Prabhupada. Doesn't matter, but manage. For management, this division must be there. Otherwise, it will be mismanagement. A Vaishnava coming to the position of doing the work of a Sudra does not mean he has become Sudra. He's Vaishnava. Try to understand this point. Just like in the stage, if you want to play something, one must be king, one must be queen, one must be this, one must be that. But neither of them, king or queen, that is stage play. Similarly, to manage things in the material world, we have to have guna karma. Karma there must be. Therefore, the karma should be done, executed according to quality. Atreya Rishi. So in our movement, the leaders must decide how every devotee and every resource is engaged properly. Prabhupada. That is leadership. That is leadership. Which man is fitted for which work? Atreya Rishi. Yes, utilization of all resources. Prabhupada. Yes. Atreya Rishi, including devotees and funds and everything. Well, Atreya Rishi is an accountant, so he has to bring in, he's the Vidyasagar of previous time. Yeah. He worked for a big accounting company in Iran. It was an American accounting company. I forget the name. Yeah. He was my good friend. But he blooped, unfortunately. But he's still a good guy. Prabhupada. The first thing is that we should see that everyone is engaged. How he should be engaged, that requires leadership. But the first business is to engage everyone. Nobody should be without engagement. Then it will be idle or or idle works, what do you call? Idle brain is devil's workshop, and the devil is kamini kanchana, women and money. So people are only interested in women and money. That's kamini kanchana. This is devil. So if you remain idle, then you shall think of devil. So we should see that everyone is engaged properly. Hare Krishna, Jai. So when it says women and money, it means the nonsense people, especially the men, they're only interested in taking advantage of women and usurping money for their sense gratification. So that's what happens when they get lazy, and an idle brain is a devil's workshop. Then the mind goes toward sense gratification. Now, there's nothing wrong with women devotees; they're pure devotees. But these unholy men, they try and exploit other people, whether it's a man or a woman. They don't care. They're completely degenerate. Yeah. He said, "This is devil. So if you remain idle, then you shall think of devil." So we should see that everyone is engaged properly. Hare Krishna. Instruction in this connection is very important. Everyone should be trained as Vaishnava. At the same time, he should work in different positions for management. So if our men are not prepared, if our men are not prepared, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, for doing the plowing work, then what is the use of purchasing land? So Prabhupada is criticizing Tamal Krishna Maharaj for saying, well, our men don't want to work. So Prabhupada is saying, then why did we buy land if they're not going to work? So this is nonsense. They have to work. Doesn't matter they're sannyasi or Vaishya or Kshatriya or Sudra. Tamal Krishna, again, they are not prepared. They are not prepared, Prabhupada. Then you have to engage labor and spend 200 rupees per head, at least including salary and food, and the production is nil. In this way, there must be 10,000, 20,000 expenditure. Am I right or wrong? You bring money some way from anywhere and let us spend lavishly. What kind of management is this? We should consider the money, after all, is earned with hard labor. So somebody will bring money with hard labor, and another body will spend in an irresponsible way, like irresponsible prince. That should be stopped. That is management, especially religion means to make a class of men simply idle. What is that? Opiate. What is it called? Opiate of the people. Therefore, they are against religion, meaning the materialistic people are against religion. Why? Because they think that religion makes people lazy, and they want to live off of other people's work. But actually, if we show that we are producing, we are managing, we are educating, then we can counteract the communist tendency. But they are saying that we are escaping. They say they escape responsibility of worldly life and they're indulging in some religious activity. That is the tendency. Everywhere the government is complaining like that. Therefore, they do not want to increase the number of temples or increase the number of devotees. They do not want, because they say, these are a class of idle men. They cannot do anything, and they take to this religious life. That is the tendency. They are feeling like that. But if you show that you are actually doing something ideal, then they will appreciate. Make a small unit of community and show ideal life, not idle life, ideal life. Then this misunderstanding will go away. Now in Mumbai or Bombay, they have refused, in other words, refused the permit to build a temple, because they are under the impression that these people, these Europeans and Americans, have come here under some sentiment. And what is the use? They have taken some plea and rejected our, rejected our way of doing things here. As we are making counter-propaganda against Maya, the Maya is also very strong. She will also make propaganda against us, very strong. So unless you become very sincere devotee, Daivihi Esa Gunamayi, Mama Maya Duratnyaya, Bhagavad Gita 7:14, then it will not be possible to conquer over Maya. You'll be succumbed, you'll be defeated by Maya. So he's saying, but look, you become a Brahmana and you think you're greater than everybody else, and everyone else has to serve you, and you don't do any tangible service. You preach a little bit, but you're mainly eating and sleeping, then people are going to hate us. Because they'll say, look, they're just a bunch of bums. All they want to do is exploit others. They have to see that we're actually working hard. And we don't differentiate between the different classes. Every one of the 4 classes is important for the maintenance of society. And we should work hard. And if you're a Brahmana, you can work as a Sudra sometimes. You can work as a Vaishya. You can work as a Kshatriya. There's no limitation because it's all devotional service in the higher Swadharma. Right? Why? Because what makes it devotional? Because we're following the 4 regulative principles. And we're not committing any offenses. There are 10 offenses against the holy name. Then there's offense against the holy dham and offense against the devotees. So we're avoiding those 3 types of offenses. And we're following the regulative principles, which are 8. No meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, and regularly chanting Hare Krishna every day, minimum 16 rounds, no maximum, and eating only prasadam, and also going out on Sankirtan, and then engaging in temple worship and associating with devotees. All these things means that we're on a transcendental level. Because we're on a transcendental level, we can accept any position, whether it's a Sudra work, or Vaishya work, or Kshatriya work, or Brahmana work. See? And this cooperation between these different classes of people according to their tendency means that everybody makes spiritual advancement and goes back to Godhead. That's the real superior Swadharma, or the divisions of work according to tendencies, and everybody is actually a Vaishnava. Vaishnava means you're superior to Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, but you're acting in the Varnashram system, the spiritual Varnashram system, for the benefit of society, to help many people make spiritual progress through these different divisions of work. So he's saying, look, if you give the wrong example, then Maya will attack you, and you'll be defeated. In India, the Brahmana class, they say, oh, I am born in Brahmana family. Why shall I do this low-class work? You see? Therefore, the whole society has gone to hell. In your country still, they accept any kind of work, meaning in America or Europe. It doesn't matter. And here, in India, if he happens to be a Brahmana, he'll not take any kind of work. Just like plowing, he'll not agree. Therefore, so much land is being left fallow, not being used. The Kshatriya is thinking, I am Kshatriya. The Brahmana is thinking, I am Brahmana. And the land is lying fallow. There is no production. He will go to the office and fight the office, and he'll not come to plow. Therefore, the scarcity of food, he'll go to a mill to work as an ordinary laborer. He'll not come. So much land we see lying unutilized, and they're crying for grain. Why? The same example. I was writing that in New York City, the whole city is full of dirty things, garbage, for want of cleaners. And you go to the Central Park and you'll find so many hippies are lying down idle. Rishi. Unemployment. Prabhupada, not employment. They'll not work. That means mismanagement. Why they should remain down. Why they should remain without any employment. But the government is not engaging them properly. Devotee, they do not feel inspired. Devotee, they do not feel inspired. No one has desire. Prabhupada. That means mismanagement. You had no desire to take the Krishna consciousness, but you have been taken to it by some way or other. That is management. So Prabhupada said, look, you guys were all much lazy bums. But when I came, somehow or other, chanting Hare Krishna, going to Sankirtan, I inspired you, and now you're working hard. At least some people are working hard. So it says, Oh Prabhupada, you are an expert manager, Hridayananda Maharaj says. Prabhupada, a child does not want to go to school, but it is the duty of the parent to send the child to the school by some way or other. So that is government's duty, that a man should be employed according to his capacity. There should be no unemployment. That is very dangerous position of the society. You see, the government has forced companies to lay off large numbers of people. It's not that the companies have financial problems. They've been forced to lay off people by the government, by Crazy Joe and his band of crazies. Now, why? Well, they have their own purposes. But you see, massive number of people are being laid off right now. Then later on, they'll re-employ a lot of those people. Now, why is this? It's all because of the investors, the people who have stocks in these companies. They have to have a certain measure of profit. You see, this is the danger. The profit incentive is a dangerous thing. It makes people, the leaders, calloused. They don't really care if somebody's laid off. They have to have the bottom line for the investors or for the shareholders. You see, so this is dangerous because it can ruin people's lives. Of course, the government has their programs also. But how much can they pay people eventually? The government's going to go bankrupt also. Then you have a real problem. Then there's no safety net. So Prabhupada says, but it is the duty of the parent to send the child to school by some way or other. So that is government's duty, that man should be employed according to his capacity. There should be no unemployment. That is a very dangerous position of the society. Now, this unemployment question is very strong all over the world. They'll plan that this government is not good, that system is not good, he's not good, and he'll do nothing. He'll personally do nothing, just like the hippies. They criticize everyone, but they do nothing. These descriptions are there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are going too far. Are we going too far? From the government to utilize this land, you see, so much. Everywhere you'll find. Who was with me in London? Yes, last summer. Letchmore Heath, yeah. Prabhupada. So much lying, vacant land, so much vacant land in Letchmore Heath they have taken it into consideration that what is the use of working in the land? Better kill one animal and eat the animal easily, because he doesn't care for sinful activities. If I can eat the cow, why shall I take so much trouble tilling the land and growing food? This is going on all over the world. Indian man. Employment means now just to cut the money and not to work. No work. Prabhupada, yes, employment. Even for women, the charka. You see, Gandhi also studied this. There must be charka. Women should be engaged for weaving. That is called spinning. Spinning, yes. Everyone should be engaged. That is management. So all the GBC members must see that in every temple, everyone is engaged. Brahmananda. That is the meaning of leadership, Prabhupada. That is the meaning of leadership. Hridayananda. And that all the devotees are protected. And all the devotees are protected. Prabhupada, yes, everyone should be engaged. And if everyone is engaged, he'll never fall sick. The farmers, their son, they're giving up the farming business, going to the city. Prabhupada, going to the city in your country also? Yes, Srila Prabhupada. Or you have nothing to do with farming. Okay, so anyway, that's a short morning walk, but you can get a vision, Prabhupada's vision. Everyone should be engaged. There's no such thing as, oh, I'm a Brahmana, I can't do this or that. That's nonsense. Brahmana can do any service, because actually we're Vaishnavas, we're transcendental to these varnas and ashramas. But you need to have these divisions of work for the general public so that people can make spiritual advancement. But devotees who are in the highest swadharma means occupational, mandatory occupational duties. As devotees, we have to be ready to do whatever is necessary to maintain society. And how do you maintain society? Everyone should be employed. And everyone should be on the spiritual level, if possible. And so the Varnashram system is to bring people gradually to the higher spiritual level. Once they get to the higher spiritual level, then they can do any activity, whether it's Sudra, or Vaishya, or Kshatriya, or Brahmana. So today you have this very rigid caste system based on birth and work, and it's a false system, and it's destroying, the Sanatana Dharma. So we have to go back to the original system, which is based on quality and work, not on birth. And also, we have to understand that a person who is transcendentally situated as a Vaishnava can accept any work, any bona fide work, right? It's not that he's going to start killing cows and eating them, but any bona fide work, to give an example to the rest of the people, to work hard, but work hard to please Guru and Krishna and establish a spiritual society. Okay, so you have any questions? This is a very interesting, very interesting discussion by Prabhupada. And you see how the devotees, like Tamar Krishna said, well, nobody wants to work, none of the devotees want to work. He said, that means mismanagement. You're not a good manager. See, he didn't accept that type of negativity. So any questions?
So Maharaj, now we can see how you operate. So this is the direct, we sensed it, that there must be Prabhupada's instruction on exactly how to engage the community, how to engage the devotees.
Yeah, the festivals you see everybody cooperating, working
Yes.
hard.
Yeah.
And the result is what? 12,000, 20,000 people, and politicians coming, and grants coming, people appreciating what we're doing, with food trucks, this thing, that thing, you know. It's very important. They should see us as workers, as givers, as genuine people, not lazy bums. We have too many lazy bums already. They don't need more lazy bums. And people will criticize us, you know, if our only thing is like, okay, well, somehow or other we'll make some money and then we'll live very comfortably and not really exercise too much preaching. No. That'll be a complete destruction of Krishna consciousness.
So the main thing here is that there is a simultaneous, this is that again, bheda, abheda, one way, because there is simultaneous equality because we are all Vaishnavas. But at the same time, when it comes to the material work of doing things, which is still devotional service, but there is a clear alignment to one's affinities and their skills and their...
That's for the mass of people, but not for the devotees.
Yeah,
Devotee can assume any position.
devotee can switch. And then I think the example Prabhupada also gives is Krishna himself. You know,
he was a Vaishya, and then he was a Kshatriya.
Yeah, wonderful.
Wait a minute. He also washed people's feet for the Rajasuya sacrifice.
Hmm.
His duty was washing the feet of all the people that came.
Yes.
Krishna. Right? You can read it in the Krishna book.
Yeah.
He didn't say, no, I'm Krishna. I can't do a thing like that. No.
Yeah, I think even in the 3rd chapter, Krishna specifically says that I have no need for work, but I do the work so that people follow.
Yeah, if I didn't work, everyone would follow me and become a bum.
Yeah.
He has a question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So, is technology a challenge for Varnasrama system? Because
nothing is a challenge if you dovetail it into Krishna consciousness. If you don't dovetail it into Krishna consciousness, then it becomes a challenge. So how do you dovetail technology? Well, look, we used Facebook and Instagram to publicize the Holy Festival. We didn't reject it. We used it in a positive way. And that's dovetailing into Krishna consciousness. Now, if we would only do that for a Sunday feast, that would be good. But no, we ignore the Sunday feast. Hardly that many people come anymore. And even the devotees don't come. You see, that's complete Maya. The Sunday feast should be packed every Sunday. We used to get 800 to 1,000 people in the Sunday feast. Why do we not do it? Because our managers are not focused on it. They're focused on doing other things. And it's hard to even get devotees to come to the Sunday feast. So you see how very easily things can be neglected. Now, if we say something, oh, well, we're trying our best. No, you're not trying your best. Trying your best means there would be 800 to 1,000 people every Sunday feast. We used to have that before. So, who's going to do all these things? We can't count on the managers to do everything. So we have to take personal initiative. Just like I wanted any new person that comes, they get a gift, a gift package, right? Now somebody said, well, why are you doing that? Why are you giving it to free? You should sell them the books. No, we're not here. We're not businessmen. We are devotees. So we want to treat everyone with tremendous respect and give them an idea that they're getting much more free things from us than whatever they're giving. Why? Then they will also pick up the value of generosity. and cooperation. So if you have a good atmosphere, people come, the temple is clean, everyone's running around like a busy bee. They don't walk past dirt and just ignore it. They pick things up. Just like one time I was with this very, very rich man. He was showing me his property, and he saw something on the ground, some paper. He picked it up because he had the desire to keep his place clean. But devotees, they just walk past trash. They don't. Or if something smells because people have been throwing food into the, near the room where you go to the shoes, or the shoes are all on the ground and it's dirty. Devotees don't care. They think it's normal. No, it's not normal. It's a disgrace. The temple, Prabhupada would be very upset to see that. And sometimes I have to scold people to clean the shoe room. No shoes should be on the ground. All the shoes, even though the people, they don't read, that's no excuse for us. All these things, these little things count. I remember one time in our old temple, this one lady came, and she was a very wealthy lady, and she saw that we had dirty curtains. She said, "I'm never coming back to this temple." Because we had dirty curtains. Right? So people notice these things. So you're not going to get good quality people if we are acting like low-class people. Everything has to be paka, first class, including the Sunday feast, including the kirtans. Like sometimes, the kirtan, like last night, is very dull. People were hardly chanting, right? Now, if I say something, the people leading the kirtan, they'll get upset. Why? Because, you can't say anything. Whatever they do is perfect. It's not perfect at all. I'm not going to say it's nonsense, but it's not good to have dull kirtan. And many times our devotees, they'll use tunes that are very difficult for people to follow. And Prabhupada didn't do that. He just chanted Hare Krishna. You don't have to use all these different tunes. Just keep everything simple, right? Simple and direct. If you say something, everyone gets and says, "Oh, Hare Vilas, he shouldn't have said that." Why not? I'm not going to be harsh, but we have to make everything first class. We cannot afford doing things in a mediocre way. So we didn't do anything mediocre in the color festival. It was all very, very, let's say, organized, and people saw it, and and it made them happy, right? And we got so many positive, statements from people who came to the festival. So that should be everything we do in the temple or outside. Everything we do, it should be first class. Now, you can't expect all the devotees to be like that because devotees are on different levels. But those devotees who are really concerned about spreading this movement, they can do things first class. So how many people do we have who are going to be first class like that? All you need is a cadre, C-A-D-R-E. Look that word up, cadre, C-A-D-R-E. What does it mean? C-A-D-R-E. Huh? Anybody?
Section.
Can you speak into the microphone?
Cadre. Cadre?
Cadre.
Cadre. A small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession, such as a group of activists in a communist or revolutionary organization, an activist group.
A group of very inspired devotees that want to do everything first class. Yeah. Did you have a question?
Yes, Maharaj. So, in modern day, the farming and the other works are done by machines. So, the people who are actually supposed to do those work will automatically become lazy.
You can come to the farm. We don't use machinery there that much.
No, in general terms, in other places.
Yeah, well, forget about that. I mean, they all have the profit incentive.
Mm.
We have the people incentive. We want to incentivize the people, get them engaged in positive things. We're not into the profit incentive. But if you do things right, there will not be any problem with money because you're doing things right. Right meaning according to Krishna consciousness. Krishna is the richest man. He's not poor. So he can give you unlimited wealth if you use it correctly, like he did to Yudhisthira, like he did to Prahlad Maharaj, like he did to Dhruva Maharaj. Unlimited wealth. Because they use it correctly. But if we misuse it, then he's going to take it away because we're not using it correctly. Okay, so here, this is a fantastic short walk. You made everything clear, and you can see there's negative devotees in this discussion, and Prabhupada won't stand for it. He won't stand for it. Any other? Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
So we need a cadre of inspired devotees. Doesn't matter, everyone else says, oh, why are they doing that? What's so important about the Sunday feast? Just like years ago before we built this temple, when I first gave the idea, the devotee said, why do we need a new temple? What's wrong with the house that we have? What? Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, the people were opposed to it. And they said, well, we'll have to collect so much money. How are we going to do that? And it's going to be so much trouble. You know, we're satisfied with the little temple. Those are dangerous people. Very dangerous people. And you still have people like that today. They go, well, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? Why? So to spread the movement. That's why. You know, otherwise, you just do a little, you have your little party. And, everyone just does a little bit. And 20 years later, it's the same thing. Nothing changed. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My question is not about this article, but something different that I read on Bhagavad Gita, where they were talking about the qualities of soul. I think you also said, Maharaj, and also it says in Bhagavad Gita, everybody has a soul and a super soul. And there is super soul in every atom of the body. What is the difference between the super soul?
No difference.
No difference. So the super soul that is in the body, in the overall body has one super soul, and the super soul in every atom of the body, they're exactly the same.
Same super soul.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Haribol. Question.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Maharaj, I have wanted to share something about the Holi festival. So yesterday I met a person and his 4-year-old daughter, or 4 years young daughter. And she had color on her hair and the dress she was wearing. So I asked them, oh, did you come to the Holi event in Bellevue at the Marymoor Park? And she said, yeah.
Not Bellevue. Redmond.
Yeah, Redmond Maharaj, yeah. So
maybe they went to the one in Bellevue. There was one in Bellevue.
No, they came to the Marymoor Park, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so some people still think Marymoor Park is in Bellevue, but yeah, in Redmond. So she was so happy and she was asking about like, oh, where do we get those colors from? And she was saying, holy, holy. And her father was very happy and they said that this was the first time they came. And his daughter keeps talking about it. They enjoyed everything, right? From all the food, the atmosphere, the way it was organized. And they are looking forward to it for the next year. So.
No, they should look forward to the next festival, which is very soon. You should tell them that.
Yes,
We
Guru
have
Maharaj.
6 more festivals, big ones.
Yes. Yeah, we talked about the other activities we do as part of Northwest Share charity.
Northwest
The-
Share, also
yeah,
VCC.
food truck, yeah. So.
Okay, good. Thank you. You see, even a 4-year-old girl has been inspired. Yeah. All right, well, then I guess we'll have Guru Puja. Haribol. Yeah, okay. We'll have to clean the temple, get all the junk out of the temple. If we can clean the Santa Sita Hall, put all the junk on the stage or something, just get the whole hall clear of all that junk, then we could start. I have to go because I have an appointment at 10 o'clock.
Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakadi Sadma Bandhu moi savadhana mate Jahara prasade bhai e bhava doriya jai Krishna prapti ho jahan hoi de Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Kuriya Gya Harna Kori Ho Mane Asha Sri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uddhamagati Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asha Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asha चक्षुदान दिलो जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिलो जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ हो दया विद्या विनाशा जाते प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ हो दया विद्या विनाशा जाते वेदे गाय जहाँ राचारी दो श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आदम जनर बंधु श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आदम जनर बंधु लोकनाथ लोके राजीवाना हाँ प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पाद छाया हाँ प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पाद छाया ये बेजास गुसुक त्रिभुवाना श्रील प्रभुपाद पतित पावना श्रील प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने पदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष सदारिणे नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी साक्षात्कारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद Nityananda. Jayo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरी श्रीमते श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शिला प्रभुपाद की जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरी श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर महाराज शिला प्रभुपाद की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवाशि गौर भक्त वृंद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की जय, मायापुर धाम की जय, पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय, भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय, समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Pavan ki jai. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimata Bhakti Vedanta Swami Dinamine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschate Deshataran. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates, by him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of the mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and the master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. We take the shelter of your lotus feet.